Good evening, everyone. I believe it's 4 o'clock and we want to stay on schedule. I'm Penny McCallum, Director of the Virginia Tech Southwest Center, located in Abingdon. I would like to thank Nikki from the Higher Ed Center for arranging and working so hard for the past week or longer with me. Today we've exchanged at least 100 emails. And she's worked diligently to get everything correct for this program as well as others that we have coming. I would like to thank David Matlock, Executive Director of the Higher Ed Center, for funding these programs so that you can do them for free. Otherwise, we would not be able to do them. I would also like to thank Heidi Messmer for doing these workshops for us. She's doing a great job. And I know that you will have a lot of good feedback about the sessions. So I would like for you to email me and share your feedback each week. If you have anything that you want to share, please do so. Send me an email and I will see that Heidi gets that information also. So let's get on with it. Don't waste any more time. Heidi, it's in your court.
Okay, wonderful. Whoops, just as I did that, my computer blinked. Oh my gosh. Not sure what happened there. Okay, here we go. If you are on the call and you can do it, get out a dry erase board. This is a reminder from last week and a marker. We're going to do a little dry erase activity. And just to emphasize what Penny said, we had a wonderful group of folks advising us last week to help improve the offering, find out what you want and need. So we're gonna try to, keep this going in terms of what you want. So I'm gonna kind of dive right in. If you weren't here last week, the focus is on techniques for beginning reading instruction in a virtual environment. And this is focused specifically on K2. Now, you can certainly use a lot of these techniques in any context, but we're really focusing on young children. And as such, we're not using more complicated tools that would be hard. I really, really advise that if you want to join the Twitter crew, you do. This is my handle, HAE Messmer. I showed last week how easy it is really to find ideas on Twitter. And again, you can just search or use a hashtag and you can find things. So I'm going to go right on. Always have to start with a funny picture. I love this. This makes a lot of sense to me and my husband. We're both early 50s and, eyesight's starting to go here and there. We don't exactly hear each other. So this guy says, "Where the heck are my students?" And she's over here and she says, "That's the microwave, Bob." And well, anyway, we have all kinds of funny jokes going on in my household and I just had to chuckle. Last week, you gave us feedback. You said, give us apps. So I'm going to do more of that today. We've decided that if you want to stay around and talk to your colleagues or ask me questions, we will do that after the 4 to 5 hours. So from 5 to 5:30, we'll have a different room, a different Zoom room, and I'll be there and anybody can come. And that's not, you don't have to do it. We're going to try to cut down and do less. Well, last week, the apps I shared were classroomscreen.com, which has a lot of wonderful features. I'm going to use it again. I also shared Flipgrid, and I'm going to use that next week. Next week's focus will be used. And Flipgrid is an app that I do believe young children can access and use. So as Penny mentioned, Dave has been very generous, the Higher Ed Center Director, in funding 4 sessions. Last week was engagement and routines. This week is phonics and phonological awareness techniques that you can use when you are teaching a virtual synchronous class. So my focus is going to be on when you're doing what we are doing. You've got little kids on the other side of your computer screen and you are trying to engage them in a direct lesson. which, by the way, I think should be done in small groups to the extent possible, if you can. Next week, we're going to do virtual oral reading for assessment, instruction, and celebration and sharing. And then the final week is going to be a teacher's choice. We're kind of playing around with the idea of sharing different apps. Just to let you know, an app is an application or some kind of a product or tool that you can use. And we'll try to see if we can create almost like an app fair where you move between different presentations to see apps. If you know of something that you're using and you're willing to share it, please reach out to Penny. In fact, at the end today, we're going to have a teacher share something she uses. So we're on the phonics and phonological awareness. Our format is changing. Just a reminder, you are Dorothy with the ruby slippers on. The power is yours. This is what you already have inside of you. You're the professional educator. I'm like Glenda the Good Witch on the side, just reminding you that you can do this, that it's all about just taking that first step. And so once you start, you're going to find yourself being a little more excited about this. It's just a little intimidating and daunting at first. So today, we're going to do some work with word building using dry erase boards. So this is like not even digital, right? If you have a dry erase board, go get it right now, pull it out, have it ready. This is something you can do with young kids. So then I'm going to share with you a number of the phonics templates at what's called UFly, which is the University of Florida's Literacy Institute. They have a series of wonderful phonics templates and games that you can use when you're teaching virtually online. Then I'm going to demonstrate a concept of word lesson that you can do with RAS projectables, Reading A to Z projectables. Reading A to Z, Learning A to Z, you can get a personal subscription for about $60 a year, and I have to say it is really invaluable. And then boom cards are going to be shared by Miss Mary, and then at the very end we will go, for those who are interested, to an optional open discussion. All right, so everybody pull out your dry erase boards, and you can see this is a little picture of me doing this on, I was not using Zoom, but whatever your platform is. This is what people were doing. This is very easy. So I'm going to model this as I would with kids. I'm going to model 3 levels of this game: the easiest, middle, and hard level. Now, if I were working with kids, and I'll ask you to do this right now, I would say, all right, the first few minutes of working with the dry erase board is your time. I have this thing called My Time and Your Time, and I would say, everybody right now, you have a minute to use your dry erase markers in the way that you want and to draw or write something. And I'm really going to give you that minute. So do something fun right now. All right, I'm going to do something myself. And I hope you're drawing or writing something. It can be very therapeutic. You've got a few more seconds left on your drawing or writing. And I would ask kids to finish up, and then I would ask them all to share. Since we're in a webinar, I can't see, but mine is, let me back up so you can really see it. It says first day of fall. First day of fall. Okay, then I would say, okay, now it is my time. Everybody erase your boards. And then I would say, choose one color marker, put it right beside you, and put everything away. And then I would say, show me your hands. Show me your hands. And I would want to see everybody's hands, and I'd say, okay, put your hands down, and we're going to go ahead and start. All right, so the first word we're going to make is going to be the word, oh, real quickly, I would tell kids we're going to make the words up and down like this. And this is the first level of the game. We've been working with the word family it. I'd like everybody at the top of their board, so right up here at the top, write it. Now listen really clearly. I'm saying I like igloo, not like egg. I'm saying it. Okay, just as an aside, when you're doing phonics instruction with young children on the computer, it's really important that you give them context for the words and the sounds that you're using, because over the computer, the nuances of sound and what they see can be lost. So when I tell them, for example, to build the word it, I'm reminding them of a target sound and using a word example, igloo, to remind them. And then I would say, okay, everybody show me. And I would check it. And I might say, David, you are really close. You have the t sound, but at the beginning of your word, you have like egg. We want like igloo. Say that sound and change it. And I'd make sure everybody had it. Okay. Now what I would do is I would say underneath that word, you are going to write it again, but you're going to leave a little space at the beginning, okay? So here's my second it, and you can see there's a little space here. All right, listen really carefully. We're going to put the sound B at the beginning of that second it, B at the beginning. And then I would say, read that word to yourself. So in a small group, I would want to see all those little mouths with their mics still muted, reading those words. And then I would say, Janie, I'd like you to share the word with you. And I would unmute Janie, and Janie would say, bit. And I would say, exactly. Okay, now I want everybody to touch the first letter, B. We're gonna change that B at the beginning of the word. We're going to change it in the next word. So underneath bit, you're going to write a new word, and it's going to start with the sound S, like C or Sam. Oh, I shouldn't have given the word C as a clue, right? Because that's going to make kids think the letter C. But I would have said like Sam, right? So I want you to write the word sit. Say that word. Everybody write the letter. I love the way I see you write those letters. Everybody show me. Now everybody read that word, and I'm going to call on somebody randomly. Michael, can you read that word? Michael would say sit. Sit. Yes, I sit down. And everybody look closely at your S. Make sure your S looks like this. It's going the right way. Use your alphabet strip. By the way, if you're going to use a dry erase board with kids, you might want to get them a really nice alphabet strip that they can have on hand so that they can have a cue. We'd go along doing that level of the game. That's the first level where you just change the first letter. Then I would say, all right, erase it. And let's say this is day 2, or really this isn't day 2. This would be like week or month, right? This would be, now what I'm going to do is level 2 of the game. In level 2 of the game, I'm going to change the beginning sound, and I'm going to change the ending sound, right? Because what we know is developmentally, kids hear beginning sounds usually first, and then they start to hear those ending sounds. So as I play the game, I'm going to direct them at different points to point to the last or the beginning sound. I'm going to tell them that I'm going to change that word, that part of the word, and then they're going to write it. So, all right, the first word we're going to write now on level 2 is the word lid. I put a lid on the bucket. Lid. And I want to see everybody saying that word as they're spelling it. Use your alphabet. And one of the cues we always use with kids when they're trying to spell things is say it to spell it, because they use that oral, they use their voice that they're hearing to help them remember the sound. Lid, lid. Now everybody show me that. I'll get them to show me. If there were any corrections I needed to make, I would do that. Okay, now everybody, I want you to touch the first letter in lid. We're going to change that first letter, and I'm going to make that first sound say id, id, and write that new word right underneath lid. Id, h like Harry, id. Everybody show me. I'd like to see a lowercase, Donna. Make that a lowercase h, right? We write with lowercase. Yep, that's right. It should look like this. H-I-D, hid. Now I want you to touch the beginning sound again. We're going to put a r, like rocket at the beginning of that word. Id, id. Write that word. When you're ready, show it to me. I see lots of great words. They all say rid, like this, rid. Now I want you to touch the last letter in that word rid. So you're going to change the d in that word. You're going to take the d off. The next word you're going to make is going to have at the end. So you're going to build a word that has r, Build that word and now I didn't read that new word to you, did I? I was tricky. So I want to see who can read it. Read that word to yourself. All right, now I would call on somebody. And that would be level 2 of the game. So level 2 is really kind of clear. You're going to change the word at 2 different places, right? All right, let's see. I'm seeing there's a chat here. Everything okay, Nikki and Penny? Is there something I need to do differently?
Someone is asking if the children can see everyone else or just the teacher.
I like the kids to be able to see everyone else because it makes them, it puts tension. They're not going to be able to see everyone else when their board is flat. So when they're actually doing the word, and then when they practice reading it themselves, they're doing that work independently. But I like them to be able to share it because obviously we want that social aspect, and it allows them to kind of show off and feel like they're actually in a group. Now, what we talked about last week with cameras is that what I've heard from local folks in my area is that school systems never fully require you don't have to have your camera on in a household because you know, a child might need to turn it off for a range of reasons. But when I do this with people, I like to be able to see them. And I can't do it with this number of participants, but I like to be able to see them. So that's a great question. All right, so now I'm going to demonstrate level 3 of this game. And level 3, it's pretty obvious. Level 3 is you're going to change the word in 3 different places, beginning, middle, or end. So we're going to start at the top with the word hit. Hit. My husband hit the side of the garage with the car, and we had to get it repaired. True story. And he is always like on me about how sloppy I am. So it was really kind of fun. But we're going to write the word hit, hit. And then I would ask them to show me. I would do corrections. No, this is not hid like I hid during hide and seek or I hid the Easter egg. That's a close sound. D, 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 hid. This is hit. T, t. Can you say those 2 words? Hit, hid. Little bit different. The t is unvoiced. D is a voice sound. Hid. All right, now we're going to do something really, really tough, folks, because this is the middle of 1st grade and you're smart enough to do it. Touch the I part of your word. Touch that I part. And you are going to change that I part to ah. And I'm not going to tell you what the word is. So write the word huh, and then instead of it, put ah, huh, at. Write that word, huh, at. Say it to spell it. I want to see your mouths moving while you're doing this. Say it to spell it. Now read that word to yourself, at. Now show me the word. Awesome job. Oh my gosh, this is great. And Devon, can you read that word and can you use it in a sentence so we really can understand it over the computer? Great. You have a Nationals hat. Great. I love it, Devon. That word is hat. All right, now what I want you to do is touch the ending letter in hat, the t part, the t part, and we are going to take that off. We're going to do this again. It's tricky. So we're going to put an sound there, like marshmallows. So we're making the word Say it to spell it. I want to see everybody saying that word. I want to see you spelling that word. Very good. Then I would ask a child to read it and we would share. So that was level 3 of that game. It's changing in the middle. All right, quick debrief on that. You can do lots of different things with that. I'm sure many of you do lots of different things with that. What you want to do is structure these activities so that the kid has to do a ton of work on their own, and it's kind of tricky. But did you notice that a lot of times I would just tell them the sound of where I was going to change it, and then they had to actually put the word together and read it, and then they also had to spell it. You could ask them to erase the middle if that's easier. There are just lots of different ways you could do it. My biggest thing that I would say about this, and this will be in the PowerPoint, we'll send it out. Do not wing it. Do not wing it. You could be spelling cuss words in the middle of somebody's kitchen. So I did not wing it. I have a little, if you can see this, I had a little Post-it note that was ready. So do not wing it, plan. And do remember that level 1 is where you just change the beginning, level 2, beginning and end, and level 3 is the middle. You wouldn't do the middle until kids have full command of all of those different vowel sounds and they're really doing a ton of short vowels. Okay, super, super excited to share all of these wonderful templates that are at UFLI. And if you have not found this website, you need to. It's got oodles and oodles of great stuff. If you go to the website, and I always kind of like to show you the steps because it shows you how really accessible this is. Okay, so you go to, oops. Okay, so you go to the virtual teaching hub. Evidently, it doesn't want to back up to me, but you go to the virtual teaching hub, and if you scroll down into decoding and encoding and then word work, that's where you get all of these things. And literally, you just download them. Some of them are PowerPoints that are already made up for you. Some of them are Google Slides. They have these videos that kind of tell you how to build things, and those are real helpful. So I'm just going to share a couple of these and do a little bit of word work with these. Okay. This first one, and I'm not using presentation mode here. I am using just a slide, but this first one is a word sort template. And honestly, you don't really need UFLI to do this. Many of you have probably already done it yourself, but just in case you haven't, they have this all built for you. So we are going to be sorting 2 different types of words here. We're going to be sorting words that go with this picture, and they have, what is this word? Mad. Everybody say that. Mad. Mad. So we're looking for words that have "ad" at the end. And then this picture is nap. Kids are taking a nap. So we're looking for words that have "app" at the end, app. Whenever I do a word sort with kids, and what I would do in the virtual synchronous lesson is I would model a word sort and then I would ask them to do a word sort at home by themselves. So what I might do is in my model have words that are not going to be the same words that they will do in their own lesson. Because for example, if they're going to have "had" in their own lesson, then they'll just copy me. So I might take out a few of these that so that they have a little work to do. The first thing I always do with a word sort is I say, let's read the words to make sure that we can all read them. And this is really important because word sorting is an analytic technique, meaning that kids take what they know and they analyze it a little further. So in this situation, I'm going to ask Penny and Nikki to be my pretend students. And I would put a word up there and I would say our first job is just to read all these words really quickly, make sure we can understand them all.
Heidi, do you want
All
to
right.
go ahead and read the words?
Yeah, I'll call on you randomly. Okay, so everybody, I'll do this first one, and then Nikki, you're gonna read the next one, and then Penny, and then we'll just kind of go in a round robin. So this word is cap, and if I can read it, cap, I keep it. Okay, you, Nikki, what's it?
Dad,
Awesome, we can read it, we're gonna keep it. You go, Penny.
Pad.
Awesome, pad, we can keep that, we know how to read it. Let's just pretend I get to a word and I just can't read it really well. If I'm by myself and I'm doing this word sort and I'm just struggling through the word, put it aside. I'm not going to worry about that word. Okay. Now I can read this word, tap, so I'm going to keep it. All right. And the last word, Nikki, can you read that for me?
nap,
Nap. Okay. As a small group, we are going to sort these words. And here's the system we use for sorting. And what I am going to do is, again, model it, and then I'm going to ask people to randomly decide where it goes. So what we do is we say the word pad, and then we say the target, pad, mad, pad, nap. Pad, mad, pad, nap. Where does this one go, Nikki? Does it go with mad or nap?
if we're going with rhyming, mad, but if
Yes,
we're-
it does.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Okay.
Yep. Pad, mad. Okay, let's try this one. Cap, mad, cap, nap. Penny, where would cap go?
It would go under the nap. It would go under.
Yep. Okay, and we would continue to sort it. Again, I give kids a sorting routine. We would finish this, and that was on purpose that I just did that. And I'd say, okay, now that we've sorted them, who wants to be my checker? And I would ask a kid to be my checker. And I would say, okay, here's the word for mad. We're going to go down the row and check mad pad, mad dad, mad tap. Oh, Devon, you're right. Tap and mad, they don't look the same at all. We've got app and we've got add. They don't sound the same. Tap does not go in this group. You're right. All right. All right, let's see. Tap goes over here, doesn't it? All right. And let's see. Nikki, you're going to say each word and match it. So go ahead.
All right. Cap, nap, tap, nap.
Do those work, or is that a good column?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yep. Okay. And then the last thing I have the kids do is I have them what we call, say, some people call this check and reflect. Some people call it reflect. But I ask them to use a template. and they'll basically say, these words go with mad because, these words go with nap because. What I really want to hear them say is, these words go with mad because they have add, or these words go with mad because they have AD. Sometimes the kids will say these goes with mad because they have D, but that misses the whole point, right? The point is that there's this whole unit, the rhyme, that is what I want them to pay attention to. So it's the AD, not just the D, that I want them to pay attention to. But that check and reflect is important. These go with nap because they have app or AP. So that's a word sort. And then I would say, now when you go back to your classroom, I want you, with your mom and dad, you're gonna do add and app words too, but you're gonna have a few different words that you haven't seen before. So do those steps again. Read all your words, make sure you can read them. Say the word, compare it to your mad word, compare it to nap. Check your rows, and then say to your parents, these words go in this group because. All right. Here's a really cool little thing that is a digital online thing that I'm going to work with. It's called the Basic Blending Board. It's just a simple app, and I've set it up online. I would say to watch, there's a little video. If you look, let me find it on here. Here is it. And there is a little video that tells you how to use this. And I would really suggest watching the video for 7 minutes. I was totally confused trying to wing it. And then I watched the video and it helped me quite a bit, okay? Okay, so just to kind of show you a little bit about how it works is this, if you use these 3 lines here, it takes you behind the scenes. And any letter that you have highlighted that is lighter has been selected for your board, okay? So you can select all, or you can unselect things. It's a little counterintuitive in that the unselected words are, letters are darkened. So to me, it's kind of confusing. I wanted to use certain blends. So you only kind of identify, word parts that you really want to use. I would not put this whole thing up there for kids. It's too overwhelming. And once you've selected, you go like this, okay? And then all you're really going to do is build words and ask the kids to read them. And again, I would ask them to do that randomly. So I would say, okay, we have been working on words that start with blends, and we've been working on L blends. And we know, folks, that when we hear something like, when we hear sl at the beginning of a word, we don't just put S, we don't just put L, we have to put 2 letters. So I'm gonna say the word slap, slap, and Nikki, can you tell me what I wanna put at the beginning of slap?
What was the word? Black?
Slap. Slap.
BL.
Oh, whoops.
Oh.
Slap, like,
Oh, FL for like flapping like a bird.
no, slap like I slapped you.
Okay, SL. So see, this is a good demonstration.
It is absolutely. So what I forgot to do, this is perfect. What I did not do when I said slap is I did not give a sentence or kind of a meaning. Like I should have said, my coach slapped me on the back after I hit a home run. Or, my mom takes the carpet outside and slaps it on the ground to get the dust off, right? If I'd done that, the child, but what you just did is exactly what kids will do, they can't hear. Or I could get really close and say, sl, okay. So we got sl, and then and then what, how does it end? Slap, Penny?
P as in Paul.
Excellent, so I've got slap. All right, now because you're really smart, I'm gonna change the middle sound. So I'm gonna take this out, and look what I wrote. Everybody read this word yourself. What have I written?
Slip.
Absolutely. And then what I would do is call on people randomly to sign. I'm going to change the middle again. Boom, here I go. And I could just open the mics and just have everybody. What does it say?
Slop.
Slop, right? Like the pig slop that you would feed a pig. And so that's how the blending board works. And again, I did not wing it. Take a little Post-it and kind of figure out what it is you want to, what you want to do with it. And again, you could have everybody, you could just open the mics and have them read the words. You could do individuals. You could do lots of things. To clear the board, you just click this and then click it back and it clears the board. But it's a really easy to use tool that it's just already there. You don't have to spend all night messing around with it. Okay, any questions? I'm kind of still watching for chat. Just let me know, break in. I'm trying to, we want to kind of go forward in a way that's useful. So here's just another another tool. This is another little app. You can do the same thing. This is like the boxes that we use with young children. And this again is an online tool that you can get at UFLI, UFly. They say UFly, which I think is kind of cute. So this is the word work mat right there. And what I did is I just grabbed the app itself because it's all ready to go. And it's called Letters when you do it like this. Okay. So this is not, this actually won't allow you to do, it won't allow you to do the pushing. It basically, you know, when you build, oh, never mind, it will. Okay, I was wrong, sorry. So this is great for doing Alconan boxes. And this would be like, I'm gonna do a little demonstration of something I might do with kindergartners who are just about ready to blend a two phoneme word. Okay, so here we go. Boys and girls, we have learned a lot of wonderful sounds and letters. I have a little secret for you. Even though we've been doing this crazy hard pandemic learning where we're on our computers, you are ready to blend some words. You are ready to read real words. And that's the whole reason that we learn letters and sounds. I'm going to pause just a minute. I see there's a question there. I want to make sure I address that. Can pictures be added? No, not to this app. That's a great question, but there's some other apps that you could use. I'm going to show you a different one that has places. They do not have pictures with this that I know of, but I could be wrong. That's a good question. So I would say, let's see if there's another question here. Okay, I think that one has been answered. Yep, okay, thanks. All right, so good question. I want to keep this interactive. We are doing so much better than last week, aren't we? Proud, proud, proud. Okay, so I would say in. We're going to build a word. Listen to the sounds. In. Do it with me. In. And I have even asked kids to, and you could do this right now, get out your dry erase board. Let's have you do this right now. What I want you to do on your dry erase board is I want you to make two boxes like this. You have to do a little, you have to kind of know how far you have to be. Two boxes like this, and you are going to push the sounds for this, okay? So watch me. Whoops. In. Now, did you see the way that works for me, and I don't know if it mirrors for you, but for me, I put this right next to my chin so I can actually look over and see where my finger is. I find it incredibly confusing to have something and watch myself in the computer. I don't know where I am in real physical space. So I place it on my chin, I look over, in. And if it's not mirroring, I would of course have to do it backwards, but I don't. In. I think it's mirroring, but I'm not sure. And I would tell the kids to do that. Do that for me. And what I do with kids too is I say, bend your laptop down, and I can even watch them do it. In. And then they can put it away. And then I can say, all right, in, what sound do we have at the beginning? Like igloo. In. Let's do that again. In, like I go in the door. Watch again. First sound, in. And you get the idea. You can play with that. You can do all kinds of things with that. And that little arrow right there clears it. All right. I'll do a couple more things and then I want to move on. This is another sounding, I don't know, remember what this is called, but what I basically did to build this is I used layered different letters on top of my word map, and then I used animations. So what I did basically was, like, let's say I wanted to make the word gap. I took this letter, I moved it, and then I put it on top. And then I use the animations. So when I use the slideshow, this is how this works. Everybody, let's read this word. Lap. Lap, like she sat on my lap. Now watch, here comes a letter. Say the sound as it comes close to the new word, and let's see if we can make a new word. Gap. What is the word? Gap. Let's do it again. Gap. Very good. Gap. There was a gap. Here's a new one. Watch the letter come. Wrap. What is the word? Wrap. Very good. So I just use animations in PowerPoint to handle that. Yes, you can. The question is, can you adjust the boxes and just have 2 or 3 boxes? I am not sure. That's a good question, but I'm not sure. You would have to look online and see it. But the way I just did that little trick is I used animations. All right, one more thing I'm going to do here is, here's another manipulative letters. Again, you just move things back and forth if you want to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I set up a little game. So what I did is I kind of combined 3 different sources. What I did was I used my book that I'm really proud of, Letter Lessons. And in Letter Lessons, in the first word scope and sequence, there are lists of word family words, and they're starred with these little stars that tell you the most frequently occurring word families. So whenever I do games, I like to use word families where I know I can generate a lot of different words, right? I don't want to do, you know, like et. You don't get very much with et, but you get a lot if you do op and ot and l and at and an. So first thing I do is I look for words in Letter Lessons right here. This is a template. This is a template on UFly. It's a little game board. Then what I did was I basically set this as my background on, I went to classroomscreen.com, and what I did is I saved that slide as a JPEG. So just to let you know, when you save, you go File, Save As, we'll save it right in there. But if I go here and instead of saving it as a PowerPoint, I scroll down and save it as a JPEG, what'll happen is it says, do you want to replace it? But it'll ask me if I want to turn all of the slides into a picture file or just one. And I always just say just one. So you can be on a slide in PowerPoint, you can save it as a picture, and then you can upload it as a background. So I go into my background and I saved this as the background, and then there's my game. There are a couple of different ways you can play this game. I'll do about 3 minutes of playing it with you guys. Mary, I was gonna leave about 10 minutes for you to do boom cards. Does that work?
Hey, honey, I'm gonna go ahead and promote her as a panelist, and one of my coworkers is going to check and make sure she's ready to go.
Okay, no pressure. I have tons of stuff to do if not. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, if I had a small group of kids, I would set up classroomscreen.com is an app that you can do. It has all these cool little tools, and I'm gonna use the dice, and I'm gonna use this screen board. This is a game that you can also find in Words Their Way. It's called Rhyming Families. So one of the things that I don't like about Follow the Path games is that they can be very boring for the kid who is not participating in the game, right? That kid just has to sit there and wait until it's their turn. And my goal in any phonics lessons is to ramp up the number of times a kid is actually reading words. So I want kids to read or write or spell words all the time, not just once every 5th kid. So what we're gonna do is play a more advanced version of this. So get out your dry erase boards. And the way that this version works is that when the one kid is up, who's playing the game, the other kids are going to be finding and writing a word that rhymes with the one that they land on. And the goal of the rhyming word that the child writes is to find a word that other kids are not going to write. Now the rules are, like if you land on fan, you can't write fan, right? Because that's the word, right? You can write any word that rhymes with it as long as it's a real word. And as a teacher, you can either allow names or not names. Like with fan, you could do Stan and Nan. I think it gets a little more complicated when you allow names, because then kids can make up nonsense words and then they can say it's a name. But anyway, and then what you do after the kid has taken their turn, I'll demonstrate it, is you go around and every kid will read their rhyming word, and then the novel rhyming words get points, okay? Now, and you don't get a point if you can't read your rhyming word. So let's just pretend we're playing it here. I'm not going to use the random student generator right now because it's not relevant. But let's just say we have 5 kids and it's going to go Heidi, Penny, and then Nikki. So Heidi first. I have 1 dice. I roll the dice. I get 3. And then I would say, okay, everybody, let's count with me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's my word. Heidi, you read it to yourself. Everybody else, read it to yourself. Heidi, what is the word? Lip. What is the sentence? Like my lip. Yes. Now everybody else, not Heidi, but everybody else, you write down another word that rhymes with lip. Think of another word, and you want your word to be a different word. You want to try to come up with an ip word that nobody else is going to come up with, because you're going to get points if you have a new word. All right, let's see here. We're going to do a little stopwatch. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. All right. Show me your words. All right. David has sip, and Connie has sip, and Jake has zip, and Taylor has flip. Jake with zip and Taylor with flip. Put a point down next to those, because those were new words that nobody else had. Very good job. And sip is a great word, but it was not one that everybody else had. Okay. Penny, now it's your turn. We're on lip. Tell me if I'm supposed to, tell me when to roll the dice.
Now,
All right, count with me, go. 1, 2. All right, Penny, look at that word. Everybody else? Penny, can you read that word?
hat.
Hat, like a hat that I put on my head. Everybody else, you're gonna get 15 seconds. Write a word that rhymes with hat that you don't think anybody else is gonna write. This time, adult friends, I'm gonna look in the chat to see who came up with a different word. Rhyme with hat. Rhyme with hat. I want to see that chat flying. All right. Let's see what we got. Rhyme with hat. And gnat. Oh, Christy Rose, I think that's got splat. Bat, cat, sat. Splat, we had 3 splats. Splat is on your mind. You must be driving down a buggy country road. Splat. Flat. Slat. Very good. Awesome. Did I make all of the PowerPoint examples? I made none of the PowerPoint examples. All of these PowerPoints are at UFly. These are all available for your download at the URL that I gave you. I didn't do any of this myself. I get no credit. I'm just demonstrating how to use it. Great question. All right. Let's see here. All right. So those are all things you can do with, I'm not sure what's going on here with my PowerPoint. Those are all things that you can do. Okay. Here is another thing that you can do, and I want to model a concept of word print referencing thing, but I think I might have to do that next class. Mary, is Mary here to show us boom cards? Oh yeah, you are. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you. Okay. Let me get ready and share. Here we go. I wanted to share with you about boom cards. You can go to boomlearning.com, and Boom Learning is a platform that allows teachers to download free and paid digital activities for students of all ages. Boom decks are made up of digital task cards for students to complete on their own. And they have lots of positives. First, it gives instant feedback so they're not practicing incorrectly. Second, Boom allows audio, and it's great for all students, including pre-readers, English as a second language students, and the vision impaired. It's all encompassing. You can also differentiate assignments by giving students different decks to work on. So I'm sharing my screen, and I have logged into boomlearning.com, and this is my made-up student on my class list, Fred. And on Fred, you can look, and he has assigned some decks of boom cards. And these circles are the ones that show that of the ones that he's done. We are working on ordinal numbers this week, so click on ordinal numbers. And if I want sound, all right. Now, And then it can tell them what you want.
Drag the star and put it on the 5th snitch.
So drag it to the 5th. And then they submit. And so that's one game. There are others. The short eye practice deck. And this is a little bit like what Heidi was showing us. You can drag them up for the picture. Fish. And you don't have to get them right in there. They'll still take them. Okay. So these are examples. We have all kinds of them. There are math, social studies, science, language arts, and there's also, when you assign them, you can, there's a hide a card feature, and there's a story about our 5th grade teacher that assigned, she was doing division, and she picked out a division lesson, and it had 30 cards. And so her instructions were to pick out 5 cards and do them. And she got an email later on that night that said it took us 2.5 hours to do the assignment because they didn't look at the directions. So they did all 30 cards instead of just 5. So since then, she is hiding all the cards that she doesn't want them to do, just the 5. Teacher Pay Teacher is a great place to find boom cards. You can check out the free decks first to see if there's any that you like. We had a kindergarten teacher, Victoria Smith, who is on top of everything, and she found this summer for $35 for a year subscription, up to 8 classes, up to 150 students. So she paid the $35 and she shared with kindergarten and 1st grade, and that's how we got into Boom. Another great feature of Boom is you can, if I were on the teacher screen, you could go and you could view the student reports. It tells the scores, it tells how many times they played it, it tells how much time they spent on it. And it's just a great resource. So if you're looking for something, you can spend money on it or you can get some for free on boomlearning.com. And that's my commercial for Boom Cards. Bye.
That was amazingly awesome. Oh my gosh. Now I have to go play with that.
Yes.
And let me ask you a quick question, Mary, because when I go to workshops, and we're going to go into talk, if you want to stick around for the next half hour, you have a problem, we're going into at 5 o'clock happy hour. We're going to bring this to a close real quick. But I want to just ask a quick question, Mary. How intimidating was it to start? How easy? How hard? Because I think when you see somebody present something, the first thing you think is, well, that person's just really good at technology.
Well, that wouldn't be the case with me. I do get along and I do make it okay, but it's very easy. Victoria had, purchased the plan, and then she added classes. And so we have a library, and then we just put our students in. And like I said, I put in an extra student so I could see what the screen looks like and what the games look like. And so I put in, my student is Fred for years and years and years. And so I get to see it from like the students see it. And it's very manageable, and it's a very good resource. We put it in our plans, our virtual plans, and we can tell who's doing it, how much time they spent on it, what their score was, and there you can even give grades.
So just to let you know, guys, we want to see more of you all sharing. We might even follow up next week with more Boom cards. Also, Shauna is going to share either next week or the week after with some digital books online. I'm going to reshare real quickly. Is Boom a free learning source, Mary? I'm going to go to share my screen real quick.
Yes, there is there are some free things, but then there are some that you have to pay for as well.
So not exactly. Okay.
Not exactly.
So guys, if you would like to, this is the end of today of the phonics and phonemic awareness. We'll send out the PowerPoint. Next week, we're going to do virtual oral reading for assessment celebration and instruction and feedback. If you want to join us in a Zoom meeting, just to say hi or to share something, use that link. I can't remember if there's a code or not. If there is a passcode, there it is. What you'd have to do is get out of this meeting and you have to go into another meeting. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to leave you guys all. Give me just a few minutes. I'm going to go to the bathroom. So if you want to join that other Zoom meeting.
Excuse me for interrupting, but remind them if they want to connect to the parent session at 6 o'clock with Rachel, they might want to do that. You're muted.
There's a parent session at 6 o'clock. That's another, Rachel Keel is a doctoral student of mine. If you are a parent who is pulling your hair out, trying to teach kids at home, she has 3 children of her own school age. She's a recent doctoral graduate and a beginning reading person, and she's walked the talk. So she can tell you how to work with kids. This would be good for a conscientious parent or any parent who is trying to navigate the waters of virtual schooling. And this is a parent-to-parent kind of session. So please go tonight to Rachel's. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. I need to use the restroom. And then I am going to open up those rooms for anybody who wants to stay and share. Nikki, I'm going to get out here. Nikki has the rooms, and we'll see you next week at this same time, okay? Bye-bye.
Use your purse. Use your purse.